Yes.
Is
It's
it? Are you
live.
live?
Yes, it's live. This.
I should crawl in the dog room.
Hmm?
I should crawl in the dog room.
No. You
Is that it?
should let the door open.
Nothing in there.
Ah, why did I close it then?
Anybody here?
I don't know.
Says there's
There.
3 people here.
You, me, and the dogs. Sorry, I didn't have my thing on.
Pasa de Miguel.
I can't really see the screen. There you go. Just 3 watching. That's a lot of messages. Let me put one of them. Oh, you've been talking to them.
Howdy, boys.
Yeah. Family cards is here, and I will with so Jay and Chris.
Hello, Jay. Thanks for being here. Hey, Chris.
You don't have to scream. We have the microphones.
Are the microphones working? They didn't work in the car.
I think it's because we were moving, or it was too much feedback. I don't know.
Sorry for being late. It's 100 degrees out here, and we had to get some drinks to bring out to the backyard. Can you guys hear us clearly? You're probably hearing me burping from the Coke.
Cold and rainy here. Feel free to stop by, Chris.
No, thanks. I'd rather have the heat.
How dare you?
Yeah. At least this way I don't have to replace the wipers on my cars. I knew it. As soon as we want to do a live, Mother Nature comes and starts the wind. She really hates me. We are live. Yes, we are.
Granddad's junk is here.
Hey, Granddad. How is it where you are?
Chris says 100 degrees is too hot for us New Yorkers.
We're kind of used to it here. Doesn't really feel that hot right now because of the wind's blowing a little bit. But yeah, this is dog panting season. Even though I have a fan on in their room, they're going to be panting all day. Cold in May, Jay? Why would it be cold in May? We could use some rain here. We really could.
Yeah.
We're supposedly in a drought.
We are.
And like one was it a supermarket in a mall on the other side of town put up a sign that said the bathrooms are closed because of the drought. Go use the bathroom out in the mall. Like it's going to make any difference. Why do we have that heart thing there?
So I can heart things.
I know, but it covers up the...
I know. I don't know how to remove it.
Yeah. There is a way to remove it, and I think Buff was doing it for a while. But you have to do it before. I have to wait. Tell us a what? I can't see it. I can't see that.
It makes tell us a car buying process. No, tell us about a car buying process.
Well, I'll give you an example of the black dart. The buyer is a follower of Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage. So Jamie has talked about me a few times, and I guess he followed me on YouTube from there, and I did a video. I published the videos that the seller of the car sent me on YouTube, and the car starting and moving and all of that, and it sounded really good. So he sent me a message saying that, you know, he's interested in the car. I already had another buyer on it, which is a whole other story, but that guy wanted to come to Mexico to see the car in person. long story short, I lost 11,000 pesos dealing with that guy, and I'm still trying to recover the money from him. But with this guy, I sent an email to him saying, hey, we should talk on the phone, so I can explain the process and everything. He sends me back an email with a picture. A minute later, not more than 60 seconds later, he was just involved in a major accident with his truck, and his truck was totaled. So that put everything on hold for a while because he had to deal with the insurance company. He immediately ran out and bought a new truck, but he had to wait for the insurance company to pay off the truck that the woman ran a red light and totaled his truck. So we had to wait. We had to wait on that. So eventually he says, okay, this is all the money I have, and I made it work, which means why do we have a,
I don't know.
that's not spinning.
No, that wouldn't be.
Okay, we're back. So I made it work. And he paid the.
Don't worry about that.
He sent me the money, and it's actually the process of sending me the money is a domestic wire. The dollars never go across, never come into Mexico. My bank has an account with Deutsche Bank in New York, and when the money is sent there, they credit pesos to my account here. That's the best way to do it, the safest way to do it. So the pesos was put in my account, and we took off to go get the car. And
I'm glad we brought chairs and we're not sitting down.
Yeah. So that was a whole other thing. But when we got to see the car, because you asked the seller on the phone, what condition is the car in? Oh, it's in really good condition. You can buy it and just drive it home. Yeah, well, that was not the case. It needed suspension work. The front bearings were worn out. When I put my foot on the brake, the right front wheel would jump because there was so much play in it. So we ended up spending 6,000 pesos at a tire shop that put the car up, replaced lug nuts, fixed everything they needed to fix to make it safe for the highway. So, plus it needed more work when we got here, as you guys saw on the live.
Well, how much it ended up being the work just for the mechanic here in dollars?
The mechanic here was not very much.
Chris wants to know if the buyer has paid tariffs on the car now.
Yes, tariffs are. We've been going over this with the customs agent, and yes, there's no way around it. The only way around it is if I can get a letter from the manufacturer stating that VIN was made in Mexico with Mexico parts, which falls under the agreement that Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. have. But it's impossible to get that. So anyway, on this car here, we had the water pump rebuilt with a new impeller, new gaskets, and the bearing, and that was 600 pesos, so rounded about $30. And the radiator was rotted and repaired, and that was $20.
What is the word that you're using? Rotted?
Rotted. They take rods and they put them through the tubes in the radiator to clean RODDED.
Oh, okay.
They clean out the whole radiator one by one by one.
Hey, Gearhead. Gearhead is here.
Hi, Gearhead. How are you? How you doing?
Sorry, I'm learning English.
So the mechanic charged me total after everything. His part was under 2,000 pesos, which was like $100. He was here for 3 days working on the car for under $100. So that is not bad.
Yeah, that's what it sounds to me too. That's why I asked him.
No, rotted.
Yeah.
You may not know about it because they don't do it in the U.S. anymore. You just have to replace your radiator. But we still have mom and pop shops here. So, yeah, I know, Chris. That's the problem. That's why I have it's done here, and the mechanic is happy with what he charges. So I mean, he did a lot of work on the car. He had to put the water pump on twice because the gasket that he made for it was leaking. So he went out and bought a gasket for it, which was like $12.50.
Apparently, everyone has rain over there, but not us.
The whole country is under a black cloud.
Apparently.
We're good here, Gearhead. It's a little under 100 degrees here with sun.
Under? And Jay says, we were talking about you at dinner. My daughter is getting her biliteracy certificate in Spanish.
Biliteracy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks. And I was telling her how good your English is. Is
Nice.
it? Thank
Yes,
you.
it is. Very nice.
Thank you, Jay. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Jay. Ah, Jesus, so many names.
I think the black car is ready to go. When we're done with this, Mrs. Mexican Spec and I are going to take the car, go fill it up with fuel, check all the air in the tires. We're going to go drive it down our street that we have here, do a walk around video, even though the car is dirty, and then come back. And I'm leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning to take it north to get it crossed. Yeah, Chris says your English is excellent.
Thank you.
So this car is ready to go. When I come back, I'll start working on the next one. But the buyer of this car is in Arizona right now at Lake Havasu or something. So when Jason crosses it, he's going to go meet up Jason at his house, and he's going to look at the car that he bought after spending all this money. So
Um, Chris, when I left Hinder dealership, we were at what is it? $198 an hour. Is that 198? 193 per hour.
wow, at a Hyundai dealership, Hyundai's.
He gets the mechanic because he was talking about
Yes.
mechanic. Yeah.
Since when is a Hyundai worth more than $193? Oh my God. Oh well, I can't even figure out how much the mechanic charged per hour here because he was here 3 different days, not the whole day, but he would get here like 9 o'clock in the morning. And one day he left to go home to eat, and then he came back for another couple of hours to finish what he was doing. I had him adjust the emergency brake because it was engaging all the way out. He was under the car and made the reverse lockout work, the reverse gate, because the rod that connects it is hanging a little bit low. And when I went over, I guess one of the speed bumps in the road, it pushed the rod up just enough so I wasn't able to get it in reverse. But I did have Mrs. Mexican Spec just in case the car needed to be pushed.
Yeah.
It didn't, but I parked it on an incline at the hotel in Mazatlan. So I just gravity backed the car out, and I just went forward and never had to back it out anywhere. But now it goes in nicely and clean. I've done it 5 or 6 times. It's nice.
So it wasn't that you couldn't find reverse; it was that it wasn't there.
It was locked out.
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to move it over, the rod was too far out. It wouldn't go in. So the buyer of this car was on the phone with Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage trying to figure out this reverse linkage. And I tried to take pictures and stuff. And they sent me a picture of the rods on the side of the transmission, and then the pattern, which was the regular 4, and then the reverse was over and up on his, and it's over and down towards me on mine. I'm like, no, that is not the right transmission that's in this car. It's a completely different transmission that's in this car. I'm like, oh, we thought we had it. Oh, well, never mind then. Yeah, no, we got it fixed. The mechanic is an old mechanic, and the power steering pump on this car was leaning up against the battery because the bracket on the back of the pump was broken. So it just had the adjuster, and the belt was a little bit loose. So he looked at that and he says, okay, I'm just going to make a bracket for it. He made the bracket. Now there's about 2 inches between the pump and the battery, and it's sitting up straight where it should. The belt is tight, and it's exactly how it should be. And that he probably charged, I don't know, $10 to do that, something
Yeah.
like that, for 200 pesos for the time that it took, because he had the little the brackets just laying around in his junk pile. So it shocks me when mechanic shops over there, they have two guys working on the car, and they'll charge twice the hourly rate on that car for that 1 hour. You know, and I know they have to pay the mechanics and everything, but man, it adds up. That's why people say cars are mechanically totaled, which isn't a thing to me, because you could sell it to a guy and he'll fix it in his garage and get it working. He can take the whole engine apart. He can do whatever he needs to do, and he'll get the car running. And there's no reason to junk a car just because it needs mechanical work. A guy in his garage can fix it, generally speaking. But Tony did that video about mechanically totaled cars, and he sees all these perfect cars in the junkyard. What he fails to realize is the pick apart yards buy a lot of cars from impound sales and stuff. So they're perfectly operating cars that go to pick apart to get taken apart, just because nobody claims the car.
Chris says, speaking of totaled, guess what happened to our spare driver yesterday?
An accident? Uh-oh. Should have brought my Coke after refill.
I don't. May I have more, please? Thank
Sin
you.
azúcar, sin calorías.
Yes. It actually tastes pretty good.
Sin sabor.
No, it's cucumber flavor.
Cucumber flavor.
Cucumber.
Ay, 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 ay. Oh, y limón.
Yeah.
Your son had a mishap on the expressway? These fine cars totaled though. Oh my god. At highway speeds, huh? Mm, that's terrible. I hope you're all insured and it gets taken care of that way.
Hold on. Gearhead says, body shops are getting to be the same. Not through body work, just cutting damage and welding on panels. Useless. Unless it's a classic.
Yeah, I don't even think they do that unless it's like a quarter panel, but they have so many reasons to total a car for almost no damage. Absolutely crazy.
Jay says that's until you need a Honda radio that is bin locked because you can't just replace the radio because it includes the heater controls that are data linked. That's why they call it the Steelership.
Oh, jeez.
Steelers.
Yeah, there's too much of that going on.
Chris says, yeah, insurance will take care of stuff, but now he has no car to drive until the mighty LeBaron back on the road.
LeBaron GTS. You're going to let him drive the LeBaron, or you're going to give him your car and you're going to drive the LeBaron? Actually, I would just tell him he's not going to have a car until the insurance pays off that car and you can get him one from that, however little they pay. It's starting to fade a little bit.
Yeah.
Not him. That's the mic I was talking about. The one with Randy. Right there.
He does not get to drive the LeBaron.
At least you know he won't be speeding in that car.
I'm gonna give you the Coke. I'll be back.
I absolutely remember driving a dark blue one that was almost new at the dealership, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Then the used car manager drove it. We drove over to our Pontiac store. He's like, "Why do we have this on the lot?
Hey, baby.
Who's gonna buy this car?" So he got rid of it. No, you don't want to put them in the Beetle. You can speed in the Beetle. It's not difficult. I had to drive the Beetle that I bought for the customer 40 kilometers on the highway to get to a yard to have it shipped off. I was keeping up with all of the newer cars there. It was not a problem at all. You guys want to look at my Buick convertible? That wasn't born a convertible. 1965 Buick Wildcat.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't even realize it wasn't a convertible until quite a while after I owned the car. They put a convertible top on it. It looked like a convertible. The rear windows gave it away, though. They weren't there. But transmission works fine. I need tubes for the tires, which I can't find in Mexico. So, yeah, one day I'll get that back down on the ground and get it moving again. My cat likes to sleep in there right now. The front seat in it is from this that was a bench seat. It doesn't move forward, so it's kind of hard for me to get in. What year Wildcat did Derek bring home? I know he has a 68 LeSabre, just like the one I used to have. The one I bought for my 17th birthday. Can't mistake that car. But yeah, this Wildcat has quite a bit of rusting on sitting here.
Um, Mrs. Spec, how old were you when you learned English? I started learning around 14, but I learned by myself. I never went to a school or anything like that. I just started with a dictionary and some English songs and started singing along and repeating the words. And with the dictionary, I figured out what they were saying. So I'm self-taught.
And then you watched movies to see the subtitles, to see
Yeah.
what they were saying, but that's not a good way to do it because they don't always translate exactly what's being said.
That's why I went for
They give you an idea. So Gearhead, the 66 is a very different car from the 67. The 66 looks like mine over here, the 65. The 67, they changed the body and made it slicker.
How common is it for Mexicans to learn English? It's fairly common. Like it is taught in junior high, but not a lot of them keep up with it. So yeah, we do have like the basics.
And there's quite a few English schools around town.
Yeah.
Hi, Buff. Bye for now. Okay.
Hi, Buff. Bye, Buff.
Yeah, we'll go into a supermarket and the people will see me and start speaking English with me, and I answer them in Spanish.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have any questions about the procedure?
Specifics.
Yes. Question and answer. You guys have to give the questions. I have to give the answers.
What was the coolest car you have gotten?
Well, it has to be this Dart GTS because it's the rarest.
Yeah.
They in the 60s, Chrysler was only putting slant sixes in cars. And then I'm not even sure if it was in 67, but I've seen 68 GTSs. They put the very few V8s in the car and then put the GTS trim on it and all of that stuff. This car in 1970 moved to the Duster platform. They called it a Super B. Then the Super B continued into the F body. And then in 1981, it was a Dodge Diplomat with a V8 that they called the Magnum. And then in '82, that was it. That was the last. That was the last V8 car that they made. They went to the K cars after that.
And when does the buy one get one free sale start?
That is very difficult because
Yeah.
everything is doubled: transport, travel, all of that stuff, and then the tariffs. Got to pay the
Yeah.
tariffs. Now, I was going back and forth with my customs agent because I needed the paperwork done on this car, and he says I haven't done paperwork on a car in a month.
Fine.
And he says that he wasn't doing any of them because he was trying to figure out how to not charge the tariffs on the 25-year-old cars, but he just couldn't do it. So then he sent me another message saying that we're just going to have to pay the tariff. I said I already informed my client he has to pay the tariff, and he's ready to do that. So please do the paperwork, send him the total so he can get you paid. And on Friday he did not do that. So I'm going to take off early in the morning without really knowing if the paperwork is going to be done by the time I get there. I hope it is. I have to trust that it is
Yeah.
because I have to deliver the car on Tuesday. And because of all the violence that we've had here in this town, I had to change how I do things. So I'm not leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning like I was, which puts me quite a ways into the trip before the sun comes up. I'm going to leave at 6 when the sun's up. I'm going to go get Mrs. Mexican Spec can't go with me, so I'm taking my son's mother with me, and and she's gonna. We're not gonna be able to do a live this time because she does not speak English, so she's not gonna be able to read the comments. So there goes my dog to go bark at somebody.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take off. I have to deliver it on Tuesday, but I have to stay in the hotel an extra night because I can't come back to my town at nighttime either, which
Yeah.
means I have to stay an extra night and leave at 6 o'clock in the morning to get here during the day, so I can get an Uber to come home during the day before stuff gets crazy at night.
Add zeros in the chat.
Hey, Ed Zero, glad you could come.
Jay says, I saw Hornets at Cars and Coffee today and tag you in it.
Thank you. We call them Americans, but okay, kind of ironic.
And then he says, what if the car was built in the US and sold in Mexico?
At the time, no cars were coming into Mexico. The border was completely closed. I can't say that because a few politicians broke the rules and brought some in through the consulate. I have seen those cars that were never sold here, and there was only one here, like a '64 Chrysler 300K, I think. It was a letter series car, and it had a factory stick shift in it, which I had never seen before in a K car, in a letter car. So it wasn't in the best of condition, but it was a very, very valuable car. But after, in the '90s, the border started to open up and people were able to bring cars in. And then they started bringing in, like my 2000 Durango was built in the US and sold here. And where it would have the federal sticker on the door, all it says was export only. So,
Maybe that's why it keeps buffering.
yeah. So it was made in the US and brought in and sold here, and they've been doing that since then.
My favorite vehicle that you brought is still going to be the Ram. That's that's like I don't know.
The Ram Charger.
Yeah, the Ram Charger. That's gonna be like top vehicle for me.
Yeah.
It was such a nice vehicle, such a nice drive. Even though you you were so stressed out driving it, I was having such a fun time driving it. It had seat belts.
Yeah, it has seatbelts.
A good point to
It
mention.
did have seatbelts.
It had seat belts. It was just such a nice truck, such a beautiful
Well,
vehicle.
maybe the next one won't be raised like that one. It'll be more comfortable to drive. I don't know.
I loved it though, raised like that and big as it was. I love big trucks like that.
Hi, Mike. Welcome to the madness. Put that back over there because this paint falls.
Oh, there you go.
I have my open glass and paint falls from the ceiling, so I don't want to be like one of those kids that eats paint chips.
Is that an 85 Caprice white car?
No, that's an 81 Impala. I have 86, 87, 88 Caprice taillights for it because I like them more, and I had the composite headlight front end for it, but that got left at the body shop, so I have the regular front end on it again, an 84 front end.
Didn't you got the
So
police lights for that one as well?
no, I got the police lights for any of them,
Oh, okay.
and because they were cheap.
Flavor cholesterol. Paper chips are delicious.
After a while, I'm sure they are. Granddad's junk. Are things that bad that you have to change? Yes, it is. The night before Mother's Day, which was Friday night, they did all kinds of stuff here, and I'll give you this: the it's been going on for a little under 2 years here in Culiacan. The problems, it has not come here yet, so it's now just trickling over here.
Yeah.
And that night was the only night we heard about anything, but yeah, they popped a bunch of people's tires, and they put some stuff in the road when you get off the highway. They burned some semis at the entrances to the town so nobody could get from the highway into town, all three of them. But this happens like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they all disappear, and then the people here have to clean it all up. So I would just rather leave during the day, come back during the day, and not have to deal with any of that.
At Zero says, I've driven race trucks. I don't like them. I can drive them. I just don't.
Yeah, that's the way I felt when I never felt comfortable sitting in that truck. And the road from Durango to Mazatlan, going through all those tunnels and all the curves and everything else, I was not going fast in that thing. I didn't trust it. And everybody behind me, I gave them chances to pass me. None of them wanted to pass me. They wanted me to be the guinea pig coming into the tunnel and making the immediate turn.
Well,
so
since I wasn't driving it, I didn't care about
Yeah.
having a lot of fun.
yeah, it's a nice driving truck,
Yeah.
and it's getting a Hemi now, so it's gonna run really well.
Yeah.
Looks like the DC sniper car. DC. That must be something I don't know about because I don't do comics.
No, I don't do this. Sorry.
At Zero, we drove the Ram Charger down from Monterey through Cahuila into Durango into Sinaloa. They got all over us because there was a military inspection coming out of Durango and coming into Sinaloa, and it had plates from Nuevo Leon, so we're coming down from the north, so they figure that we're bringing money and the guns, so they looked all over the truck. I was standing towards the back of the truck, making jokes with the guy, saying, that rear hatch is from a Caravan. They didn't even try. They just put on what they had. And Mrs. Mexican Spec was on the other side of the truck showing the young guys how to get into the center console, how to open the glove box, how to open our luggage, because they really didn't know how to do anything. She was, we were just showing them everything. Open the hood, do this, whatever. We were not nervous about what they were doing, so they said, have a nice day.
Jay wants to know who's the better driver. You mean me or him? Well, the answer to that might be I have never gotten a ticket.
And that's because she doesn't drive. But that's a technicality.
Yeah, it's a technicality. I like answering that. I don't know. I've never gotten a ticket, so
We don't ever
sorry.
lock our doors. Well, you live in a very different place, Granddad.
Yeah.
There are two cartels here fighting for control because the U.S. took the head guys to the U.S. and it's a whole thing now. So, they create all the problems. John Lee Malvo is the DC sniper. Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying, Mike. Yeah. They were driving a Caprice too. It's a trap.
Yeah.
I was trying to I took the black AMC Spirit out of the backyard to fix it up for her so she could start driving the car. She has a driver's license and everything to drive the car and everything. So we fixed everything, put air back in the tires, fixed all that. The mechanic was here. We adjusted the carburetor and everything. Then I drive it to the gas station and I'm coming back and it's just pouring water out from the freeze plug between the engine and the transmission. Now we have to pull the engine out of the car. So, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, you're in timeout again. I'm just not going to do that right now.
It's because she's easier on the eyes than you. That's why she's not gonna take it. Well, no, I've driven a handful of times, and I've never gotten pulled over or anything like that. But I didn't usually drive.
It's actually kind of difficult to get pulled over here. I managed to do it. I had the mechanic. We were fixing the black car. I had the mechanic in my Durango, and I entered the intersection just as the green was turning to yellow. And it's a really large intersection. You have to slow down, go over train tracks or where train tracks used to be, and then get to the other side. So this transit officer on a motorcycle, I go down the street, I make a right turn, which is the street to my house, and I see him flat coming up behind me. I tell the mechanic, "Oh, that's for me." So I pull over, and he starts telling me that I ran the red light. I said, "No, I did not run the red light." He says, "You ran the red light. You were in the intersection when it turned red." We start going back and forth and back and forth, and I kept telling him that I did nothing wrong. I entered the intersection. I have to clear the intersection for other cars to pass. That's what happened. No, no, you can't be in the intersection when it turns red. I said, what does the actual law say? Tell me what the law says. Show me the law. He got so pissed off at me. He handed me the documents back. He says, I'm going to give you this one chance. Just leave. And he took off on his motorcycle and went to go give somebody else a ticket.
But Max, didn't you tell us you were going to fix up that Wildcat for your wife to drive? No way, that's huge.
Not the Wildcat, no. Actually, my son's mother said that if anything happens to me, she wants that car. She has not seen it in 15 years, though. She does not know what condition it's in. That I don't know if you can see the damage right behind the door there, where it's pushed in a little bit. My son's mother was living on the street, and there was a little storage unit or whatever next to it, and I rented that and I put the car in there. But as I was backing it out, I was a little bit too close to the right side, so I did that damage on the car as I was backing it out.
Tim 72 Demon is here.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
He says, hey, Mexican Spec working in the yard, just stopped by to say hi.
So it's not raining where you are? It's raining for everybody else.
Yep. Rojo is red. It's actually with a J.
Yes.
Rojo with a J. Sorry.
Hey, how did you guys like? I wasn't there, but how did you guys like Tony's reaction to horchata?
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to see it because, of course not, because he has all that when I'm out on the road. But was it just what did his face look like? I thought he was gonna puke. Chris said. But it's your favorite at Zero. What's wrong with Tony? Why didn't he like it? What is it? It's
horchata. It's like
rice
water.
Yeah,
like rice and milk.
That's funny. At Zero said it was good. I've never had it.
Sorry, I learned rojo from the kids watching Dora when they were young. Yeah. Maybe because it was tang. Yeah, it could have been that it was tang because the original is really good. I've never tried a tang, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Mike. Tony tried horchata and he hated it.
Well, tang or chata.
Hated it. Yeah. Well, comes out of an envelope, but he didn't like it, Mike. And he saw me. I was in the hotel room and I was in the chat, And he like picks me out. Hey, Mexican Spec, you're here. I hated it. I tried it. I don't want it anymore.
I think it's something like there's like feet or something like that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of interesting descriptions of the flavors, tamarindo, and stuff like that.
And Zero has had homemade horchata. He's special apparently.
Hmm.
I've had it too. Maybe he'd have liked it better if he mixed in some buglers.
Buglers.
Buglers? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Mm, I thought you sent him good flavors.
I sent him a combination, a bunch of different flavors. He can choose if he likes them or not. He's trying all the different ones. He's braver than I am, actually.
Yep.
Gotta have the real homemade stuff. Mike said, yeah. At Zero, tell Mrs. Mexican Spec where you're from, where your family's from.
Buglers is the tobacco he smokes. Oh, okay.
Is it? Is that the name?
I wouldn't know.
It doesn't sound familiar. I don't know. A lot of people have asked him, and I've heard him say it many times. But and then he goes and has a live on Friday and doesn't tell anybody.
Mexicali, San Luis Rio Colorado, Monterrey. Monterrey. Monterrey is so hot right now. Poor guys.
Takes a day to make horchata. Correctly,
Yeah.
maybe. Not with Tang.
Yeah, I had no idea he did the Friday live.
He did it during John Wilburn's live too. So I don't know how many people were in his, and he didn't have it on Thursday. So I don't get, for some reason, I don't get any notifications on anything on my YouTube channel. So I didn't know, and we were out shopping. We go out shopping on Friday anyway. So I come back and streamed 3 seconds ago. I missed the whole thing. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, I can check your notifications later today.
I've tried. It just doesn't give me any notifications.
Mm. And however you spell Black Rocks, Mexico. Black Rocks?
Piedras Negras.
Piedras Negras?
Eh. And I think Abel has family in Guadalajara, right? At Zero.
Shopping. What did you buy me? What did you buy, Chris?
We bought. It was the weekly shopping trip for food. That's all we buy.
Mexican Spec. Don't hit the bell.
I do. I have every one of them hit.
But you don't have to only hit the bell. You have to select what notifications do you want from specific channels.
All. I pick all on all of them.
Okay, then you have to go to your settings and check your settings specifically.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want them because there's so many. There's going to be so many coming in.
That is true.
It's under Eagles Pass, Texas, border town. Oh, okay. Yeah.
YouTube sucks like that with notifications. I subbed to Faye Hadley and I didn't get her notifications. Yeah, it does suck. Abel D has family in Mexicali.
Mexicali or Mexico?
Mexicali.
He told me he was from Guadalajara, I think. Somebody's from Guadalajara.
Just hit the like and the bell.
I've done that. It doesn't, I don't get anything, nothing. And I need them because TK's Garage and News with TK
But
does a lot of premieres. And I'm supposed to be on there because I'm a mod on his channel, but I don't know when he does them.
But I thought you were supposed to subscribe and then do the rest.
I did. I do exactly what I tell people to do. I subscribe, then I do the rest.
I had no idea UDT was going to do that either.
You know, Kathy really should send us, the moderators, a notification that
Yeah.
he's going to be doing the lives. She might not even have known
Yeah.
because he was at the shop.
Subscribe and click the bell. And driveways. Chris says it's dinner time here, guys. Gotta take off. Might be back later. Otherwise, I'll see you at Tony's. Or did it just stream?
Okay, we'll see you a little bit later, Chris. We're going to be on for another 13 minutes, 12 minutes, because we have to go do that run down the road with the car. Hi, Olive. Glad to see you here. Nobody's asking me any questions about the process though.
Mike says, no, I'm saying I hit the like and bell on this one.
Oh, okay, good. Not sure if it's gonna help, but the tires on the 81 Impala. There's a story there. We bought an 82 Ford B150, actually probably a B200 carryall in Michoacan, the red and white one that you saw on my channel. When we got back here, the buyer wanted a new set of tires because they were much cheaper here than they are over there. So those really wide tires there are the tires that came off his truck, and I put them on here because the tires that I had on there kept going flat. So they're really good. They're really old. We drove back on really old tires, but luckily it was raining for a lot of the way, so the heat didn't build up in them. But the tires that I have for the other side of the car are all pink because on the way out of Guadalajara, this truck in front of me dumped pink paint all over the highway, and we rolled through all that wet paint and got it wasn't really paint, it was the rubbery stuff that you could peel off, but we got it all over the truck, all over the wheel wells, and all over the tires. All only on the left side for some reason though. So I do have to put the other set of tires on the other side if I can get in between the cars and take the wheels off. But they do look good on there. They fill up the wheel wells. Joey, wave. Hi Joey.
Hey, Joy.
You're on a live on YouTube. He's the most uncoordinated cat I've ever seen.
Yep.
And he's not a jumper either. He doesn't jump very well.
Did I tell you that he once got stuck in the Buick? There's like a hole where the back window is supposed to be,
Yeah.
and he got his paw stuck there, and he fell over the side. And my sister was out here, and she had to grab him with a rag because he was freaking out, and pull him out. Hold on.
Jay says hi, Joey.
Shush! Don't yell. Jay said, I'm sorry. Olive says, hey, Max and everyone, if it matters, I hear right now any roll-off car deliveries over here come into Brunswick rather than Savannah in case that matters.
You mean on the for the over the sea? You mean on ships?
Roll-off,
They
I guess.
they can dock on roll off.
Yeah.
I don't think my shipper goes to Georgia. I tried.
Roy Boy is here.
Roy boy. Hi Miga. Hi Roy. I was reading your comment. How do you know? That's me.
Wait, that's my name.
On the Georgia coast. Yeah, I asked my shipper, and the only place they go to over there is Jacksonville, Florida. Otherwise, from there the ship takes off to Europe, and then you'd have to pay for that trip and then for them to come back. So I really wouldn't want to do that. I have to get all that set up. I have a real hard time with the customs agent here in Mexico explaining things like I need things explained to me, what we need to do, because in order to send a car out on a ship, we have to fill out all kinds of documentation on money laundering and where did the money come from and just a whole bunch of stuff.
Jacksonville is in a similar area.
But it's on the east coast of Florida.
I had two friends that were Jacksonville sheriffs.
The cars from Japan come over to Los Angeles. The ship comes over to Los Angeles, comes down to Mazatlan, then I guess goes over the Panama Canal and ends up in Jacksonville, Florida. So we asked the shipping company, can we put cars on in Mazatlan from here to be delivered in Jacksonville? They said, no, we don't have any room. So that would be perfect because it's 4 hours down the road from me that I could drop them off and they get delivered over into Florida instead of me having to go to Mexico City, buying the cars there, and then driving them 600 kilometers to Veracruz to put them on the ship there.
Japan cars have the wrong drive. The wrong drive?
They're right-hand drive cars.
You know, we should have set this up so it could take them to do the driving around with the car, with the Dart.
But I need my phone to do the walk around.
Oh, I guess.
No, we got 7 minutes left. So
Are you seeing any new trends up or down the price of all cars?
Roy boy, I keep seeing the prices of old Beetles, not even old, 90s cars, air cooled Beetles, going up and up and up. You know, they used to be like 60,000 pesos, then 80,000 pesos, then now I'm seeing them at 125. And because that, you know, with transport and everything, that puts it like $10,000 at the border because it has to be transported. I just I just listed a Volkswagen bus on Instagram and all of that, and I have a client for it, but he's in Canada, and it's going to be like $12,000 to get the bus from Mexico City on transport up here to me, and then I have to rent a trailer and tow it behind my Durango all the way to the border to cross it because I am not driving an air cooled Volkswagen even 20 miles, let alone 1,500 miles from Mexico City. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. So it has to be transported professionally, and then I have to put it on the trailer and take it up to the border. So all of that adds up, and where the bus was actually for sale for like $6,000, all of that extra because I have to make something too after everything is said and done. The transport, the travel, everything else from Mexico City. It all adds up.
Um,
At Zero, did you see the black dart that I'm delivering on Tuesday? A bodies forever for sure. The '69 Dart GTS. There's a few like the lives on my channel. Mrs. Mexican Spec still has to put all the videos together that we took and make him into something that people can understand.
yep.
And put all of her funny little texts on there. I'm not much of a bochero. I'm not. It doesn't really excite me to drive a Volkswagen anywhere. So
Jake keeps saying you should take me out on a vacation.
we just came back from a
It was
vacation.
not a vacation.
Yes, it was.
It doesn't count as a vacation if you yell at me.
Roy boy, look at the prices. Look at the prices of clean Volkswagen Beetles in the U.S. and you'll see that, especially the vans, that's it's $12,000 is not a lot to pay for a really nice 1970 73 Volkswagen van with the three-row seats inside and beautiful paint and tires and running well and everything else. It's not a lot. People ask a lot more over there. Yeah, I'm driving that Dart, Roy, to the border early tomorrow morning. That's going to be really interesting in a black car in the middle of the desert during the day. It's going to be fun.
Is security a big problem once it is on the boat? Ever had a car show up missing a few parts?
I haven't used the boats yet. I haven't. I need a customs agent in Mexico to handle all the paperwork and everything else, and I haven't been able to get one online that could make me understand what they do.
Yeah.
So even Mrs. Mexican Spec couldn't understand what this person was saying. But I do have one of my clients that bought the VW Beetle. He imports cars from Japan, and he hasn't had anything missing, but he did have a couple of bugs inside one of his cars, which they totally freaked out about, and they charged him like $700 because there was a bug in there. They had to completely clean the car and everything else.
Bug is a real bug.
Yes, a real bug inside that came from Japan, and it could have been a big problem here.
What editing software are you using?
Capcom,
CapCut.
CapCut. Yeah, they put their name all over every video because it's a free version right now. I may go into premium so I could have a lot more options, but you know,
it's a good choice.
Not a vacation if you yell at Mexican Spec, Jay. That's what makes a vacation.
No.
Yes. But I don't know if you saw what happened. You guys saw what happened in Hidalgo when I bought the car, parked it in the parking lot at the hotel. It was 73 degrees outside and sunny, no clouds in the sky. So we walk over to the mall. We're sitting down to eat, and the sky opened up. It was just absolutely crazy. And no damage happened to the car. No hail damage happened to the car at all. It hurt when it hit me, and it hurt when it hit Mrs. Mexican Spec, but it didn't hurt the car.
My new Lamborghini sank with that ship. That's what I tell everyone. Mike says my wife yells at me during our all our vacation.
Well, yeah, that's part of life. Especially the vacations are stressful.
Anthony Bolini says I'm looking for a Falcon GT 1969 or 1970.
Falcon GT. We have Falcons here, but there's no GT part of it. They all the Falcons here came with the V8 engines. Some were stick shift, some were automatic, but I don't know what the GT package was on those. I mean, I could get you a 6970 GT. Falcon, easy. There's some pretty nice ones here, and it's a cheap way to get into a Mustang. It really is, because it's basically the same car.
Yeah. Jay says my free CapCut doesn't put mark on videos when you export to it without the watermark.
I tried that. We went through that yesterday, and it asked me to either GoPro or download with the watermark. So I'm doing it with the watermark. That's the only option I have.
Was that a Sprint Falcon mean?
No, we didn't have any Falcon Sprints here. It was just a Falcon. They were basically all the same, just different colors. All V8s under the hood, 289s or 302s, and stick shifts on the floor.
I bet you can get the GT style grill with the fog lights in a repro if you want.
On a Falcon or a Mustang Olive.
Anthony.
They had fog lights on a Falcon.
Granddad's Junk is here. He says Anthony, check out Aussie or New Zealand. Getting pricey.
Yeah, I have a customer. I have a client in Australia. Something happened to him where he wasn't able to continue, but he was going to be buying these Falcons 68, 69, and sending them over there, the two doors, because they're worth a lot more money over there, a lot more. I mean, I'm talking about $20,000 profit on the thing, even after shipping.
Jay says 7 p.m. Eastern right now. Oh, we have to go.
Yeah, we have to go.
Well, the Falcon GT had those yellow lights too, I think. I'm pretty sure I have seen a clone.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not sure if they even had a GT package on the Falcon, but we have to get going and go. I mean, we have to drive this car down the street, so
we have to test drive the car.
It's put upon us.
Do a video of it, and then be on the live.
Yep. Then I have to be on the live, which I'll see you out on the live at 5:00 0. So thank you all for coming. I expected to see a few more of my subscribers. I have like 1,700 subscribers, but I guess they didn't get the message. I'll see you soon, Olive.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Goodbye, everybody. Do you know how to turn it off?
This one doesn't matter. This one.
Oh, that's right.
1 second.